Did you actually play the baseball slates today?
I did.
I didn't even realize what they were. What was
I faded Burns at 80% ownership, and he outscored my entire team. So there you go.
It was only like 3 games, right, on the slate?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just an interesting little season opener.
Yeah. How do we? I mean, I can't wait to see the garbage I end up playing. We'll see.
I've got plenty of the cheap guys. Like,
yeah, I want to know. I want to know all about some of these Rams guys.
Yeah. But it should be a good one. Like, I mean, the thing is, I think it's interesting, like, just to talk about, the actual game. I think I'm going to do that more this year. But I just think this is a ridiculous thing. The Rams could be an underdog in this game. I'm not saying that they're like a lock to win it or whatever, but it's a stupid line. It's a bad line. It should automatically have been the Rams -2 or somewhere in that range. Buffalo has gotten at the point where everybody talks about them so highly that I think everybody thinks they're better than they actually are. And I think they're really good, but I don't know. I'm not on this. Buffalo is going to run away with this league, and they're just the best team in the NFL. And we also a lot of their advantage is playing in a freezing cold stadium with the craziest crowd around. So going on the road on week 1, I just feel like this is a bad line, and I think that the Rams win this game tonight. So that's where I'm at for the game. How about you?
We can talk about it on. We can go
live. We're live. We're live.
No, I thought you said I was going to start. Yeah.
Oh, no. I wanted to start it so we can get some people in. But yeah, we're live. I think this is I just think these are the kind of lines that this is the kind of thing that
I like the under.
That's a reasonable one, I think.
Yeah, that's what I like.
First game of the season.
Yeah, I think they're gonna feel each other out a little bit, and I think the Rams will do well playing slow in this spot.
Yeah.
And control the pace and keep Allen off the field as much as possible. Listen, it's for a coach who just freaking won the Super Bowl. Like, I've never seen a community cast so much shade on this freaking dude. I mean, the guy's a freaking wizard, and I'm hearing he's fake sharp. He sucks, and like, really? I mean, I don't quite understand any of it. I mean, like,
not to mention he nearly won a Super Bowl before that with Jared Goff as his quarterback. Give him a little credit.
I mean. Listen, I mean, just because he doesn't throw the ball as much as your DFS lineups would like it, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like he says, right. And I think that if that I agree with you. I think, listen, for a team, not to mention a franchise who's never won shit. They're like handing Buffalo the Super Bowl. They've never won one, like, ever.
Right. Never won anything.
And like, all of a sudden, we're gonna have we're gonna give Devin Singletary, you know what I mean, like, and Isaiah McKenzie the Lombardi Trophy, you know what I mean, like it's. I mean, I get it. Josh Allen's a good quarterback, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, the NFL is parity city, and it has been since freaking Rozelle was commissioner back in the hashtag Eisenhower administration. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody that you could just count on it being great. We were giving Mahomes. We're giving KC 16-0 last year. You know what I mean? Like, football's tough. Everybody's good, and these coaches are freaking wizards, like all of them. And I mean, I can listen, and I talk smack about like Tomlin and some of these coaches could do better with their analytics choices on the field or whatever. But these guys are freaking. This is tough, and the way the draft system works, it's hard to get one guy to dominate a team. And there's no. And here's the thing that I really do love about football. I mean, it's not even debatable. It's not even close. It's the sport where coaching means the most.
Yes.
Like Steve Nash can sit there on the freaking bench in the NBA. You know what I mean? And it's right. Whatever. And baseball we can talk about forever. I don't really know too much about the way hockey works, but football is all about freaking scheming and planning and responding on the fly and having. I mean, there's no accident that football, they have like a freaking entire freaking staff of freaking people, not even on the field. You know what I mean? Right. So football, it's very difficult to be great. It's not as hard to be really bad though. You know what I mean? Like you could be a really bad team and just struggle. You know, like, but the majority of football is played in the middle, and there's just no way that you're going to give you what's Buffalo's just for the hell of it. What's their over under win total for the season? Probably, did they give like 12.5 or something?
12.5.
Right? I mean, really? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's and they have the highest in the league.
I don't know the schedule. I guess because they got the 2 free wins over the Jets, that doesn't hurt their cause.
No, but their schedule's tougher this year than it was last year. And I mean, it's very possible they could. It's not a tough division that they're in right now. So I get it, but like I wouldn't bet that one, but I definitely don't like the over on that either. And Buffalo's fine, but I'll take this real quickly though. I'm gonna say my preseason my bets on who's gonna be where. I think that Baltimore. I think Baltimore beats KC to win the AFC, and I think the Rams beat the Niners again to win the NFC. I think it's really close between those two teams.
All right, this is what we're gonna do. Eric Sheetshaber is going to bet on somebody to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
DraftKings.com. Let's see what it's going to be.
You know, you could take as crazy odds.
No, hold on. We're gonna look at a second. It's the first time I've actually looked at it.
Okay.
So we're going to share my screen. I'm going to do this live. We'll share my screen. Share. And here we go. So let's see. Oh, if they let me. Yeah, they'll let me, I think. Restream, they don't mind. But the other one, they don't mind. The Zoom, they hate. They won't let me log in the sportsbook with Zoom running. But with
That's
Restream,
crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's look. Football. NFL. First time I've looked at it. I'm going to look at all these props. I can't.
So crazy.
I can't even find it. I just want to win the goddamn Super Bowl. Season specials. There you go. Season specials.
What it is a season special?
I don't know. Most regular season wins. Ugh. Where do you? I just want to win the goddamn Super Bowl.
I don't know. I'm not able to use the DraftKings Sportsbook here, so I don't know. Got it.
Team props, correct score, weekly specials, game line, most wins, fewest win, perfect season specials, winless season, team to start 5-0, overtime specials.
They don't just have a simple Super Bowl bet. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's way too.
Oh, NFL futures. It should be under that, but yeah, but I don't see where that.
Where's NFL futures?
I don't know. That's what Roddy's saying, but like I don't know where that actually is.
Yeah. So where is it? There it is. So here,
I'm not allowed to use this.
We should make this easy, right? NFL, and then, okay, where is it? Where's it, Roddy?
I don't know that. I don't know.
It's sharing it. Where are you? You tell me.
Screen that I'm familiar with.
That's fine. We're going to do this. And what's the specials? I'm not clicking on the specials. It can't be there. Okay. It just can't be there. No, but we're gonna do this. Hold on. Correct score, team props. There it is. Team futures. No.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
No.
That should be for the Super Bowl.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Winner. There it is. And you know what? The NFL is awesome because you can't say Super Bowl because it's a brand name. Just say.
Oh my
winner.
God, that's so funny.
Yeah. All right. So here we go.
Okay.
Who do you like? Who do you like, Roddy?
Yeah, Roddy, who's your Super? We already said my picks. What do we? What are the Ravens back at right now? By the way, because they had some pretty reasonable odds before.
I think I have the winner.
Who's the winner?
Hold on, not the winner, but the first of all, insulting value of 22-1 on the Bengals. For Christ's sake.
I know. I agree with that. Actually, I think that's probably one of the better odds bets that you could make. I totally agree with that. There's no reason why they can't get better.
Chargers.
Roddy likes the Chargers. The Chargers are so trendy. Aren't the Chargers like, what are they, like 15-1 or something? How about making the playoffs? Chargers? I've seen this story my whole life. It's always the same deal. This team never makes a run, but they are loaded. They're stacked, and I just am not going to bet them at those odds.
I have the answer.
If I was going to take a team at those odds, I wouldn't be taking them.
There are two teams I'm going to play, and they're both in the same conference. One of them is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to play them.
Okay.
For $100, not $1,000, $100. And the other one, we are going to play We're going to play. We could be the best defense. We're going to play this. We'll try the Saints for you.
So those Saints are my other sleeper team. I think they win their division.
Nice.
I do like the Saints a lot this year. And I think that you could make an argument that things could break right for Miami to make a run.
That's the other one I was looking at. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's the ones I think. I think the odds are a little screwed. I still think the Ravens belong in the very top of this list, and they're just not getting enough credit.
I don't know. Sell me on the Ravens.
The Ravens, first of all, they had the best record in the league the 2 previous years. Their biggest problem was they were the most injured team in the history of football. Not even close.
And they have no skill position players.
They have. Well, I mean, they've got Mark Andrews,
right,
the second best tight end in football. You could say this. You could say, and I'll tell you right now, Rashad Bateman is going to be legit. He's a good receiver. On top of it, Lamar was able to, when they had no skill position players, still was the best player in football. And I feel like people overlook him. And there's all these bullshit narratives that are based on a very small sample size of, they don't come back in enough games and all this stuff. I'm like, well, they've only had the opportunity when you're going 14-2.
Wait.
Because the way they play, they can't come back if they're down by 10.
First of all, I don't want to hear it because I won a good amount of money in Survivor last year due to the Ravens coming back like twice in
it's true. They did
grand style. I mean, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's a nonsense argument that I think is probably thinly veiled.
Nonsense. It's like fraudulent. You know what I mean?
No, it's based on BS stuff. Like it's just about how people feel about Lamar in general. Everybody. I mean, there's still guys at GMs out there saying that he should be a receiver. It's just so dumb. I mean, the guy won the MVP as a quarterback. I don't understand it. He's one of the best 5 players in football, and just completely overlooked. So, I will always bet those guys. But anyway, getting into tonight's thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I like these bets though that you got. I thought you were going to go with the really crazy long shot one that I keep hearing is a trendy one, but it's mostly amongst New Yorkers.
Who?
The Giants.
The Giants?
There's a lot of people just more for making the playoffs as I think I don't know what they are, like plus.
The other one I was going to do, by the way, I was going to do the Eagles, but they were a little too light for me.
Yeah,
the Eagles are the best. Listen, the best quarter. Finally Wentz is finally gone from there, right?
But I don't even know if the quarterback makes the only thing I'd say for the Eagles, if you take all of the other positions that no one ever talks about that don't have a lot to do with fantasy. Right. Other than wide receiver too, they probably have like the best players or the best group. They have one of the best.
That's what you were telling me when we were talking about the Detroit Philly game. You said that they were pretty loaded all over the place.
They are. They really are. I still like that game a lot, by the way, this weekend. So I'm excited about that one because I think it's going to be a little bit overlooked on the Philly side. People don't know what to do with A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith. I mean, this guy's a stud. Like, I just think that Hurts doesn't have to be that good for them to win. They're just a really good team all around. But as far as tonight goes, we did just lose one of my favorite value plays.
Ooh.
Khalif, what's his name?
That guy's out.
Yeah, so he's out. So the other 200 options, I'm using Hopkins the most. If you want to go down that low, this is the kind of game where maybe you don't need to, but also the teams might get creative enough to where they'll call some plays for these guys. So I think Hopkins is pretty much the easiest value on the slate. I think you can make an argument for Tommy Sweeney. And then everybody's going to – it's going to happen every time, right? Every time there's a showdown slate, Isaiah McKenzie goes crazy.
He's going to be like 50% owned tonight.
I know. He's going to be very popular. But what you can do to get away from maybe some of that shock, although he's going to have some love too, is James Cook, the other running back from Buffalo.
I currently have 27% James Cook.
Yeah, I think that's about – I think that's good. I think it'll be a little above average. And I am actually taking a really weird gamble – that almost worked for me in the actual Super Bowl when he dropped an 80-yarder. It was not the Super Bowl. It was the NFC Championship against the 49ers. But Scournick, I'm just all over. But I know a lot of people are playing him. I'm actually going to captain him a little bit in a couple spots. I don't think it's that impossible. He dropped an 80-yarder and still had 4 catches for 43 yards in that postseason game. And there's a chance that they could end up finding him a few times here tonight, here in this game. So I actually think he's like a good sneaky long shot play. The other guys who aren't going to be used as captains that I like quite a bit. I mean, the obvious, like it's going to be hard if Josh Allen has a Josh Allen game to not have him as your captain. But Gabe Davis is probably not getting as much love as he should as a captain. Sub 10%. Allen Robinson.
Who'd you say was scratched, by the way? What's the guy's name?
Khalif. I'm gone through too many names. I totally forgot it just out of the blue. I just replaced him already. So
I gotta search for him.
He's supposed to be the number 4 receiver for Buffalo this year.
I don't think I have him. KH it starts with.
No, I think it's Ka. I might be getting the name wrong.
I don't have him. I don't think.
Yeah.
I have some Kadarius Toney. That's Sunday.
Yeah. Throw some other names out there.
Right. So what about I got 8% of Detective Tutuola from Law and Order. I got like 10% of him.
The other ones I do think are good captains, by the way. I just want to throw this out because I think this is how you can sometimes win these things. I think Tyler Higbee, Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson, Dawson Knox are the best captain options that no one's using. So I'm going to be sprinkling up some of each of those guys. Shakir, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Triple J.
His hips don't lie. That's right. I made that joke earlier. That's right.
But I like the idea of using those guys. I like both Rams running backs. I think are viable for captains, and I think both teams tight ends.
I currently have 73% Allen Robinson.
At captain.
No. In general.
Oh yeah. I think that's reasonable. His price is sort of. Yeah, I was like, wow, captain sheets, you're really taking a stand here.
Well, I got a decent amount of him, the captain. I mean.
Yeah, no, nice. I like it. But I'm a little higher on these running back. I'm sorry, the two Rams running backs and then both tight ends for both sides, as well as a little bit of Scournick. That's going to be my creative stuff, captain wise. I will throw McKenzie into one or two as a captain as well. So, but again, you're gonna build your teams around. This is not you don't get cute and fade Josh Allen in this spot. You know what I mean? No. Like. You're playing Josh Allen if you're playing the regular thing. I don't understand how the projections have Josh Allen lower owned than Matt Stafford. I don't know what.
So just to give you my exposures, I do actually have Allen Robinson as my highest owned captain. I have him at 29%. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hey, you can get a rebirth with the Rams. Why not?
I got a couple of James Cook captain lineups.
There you go. Getting really crazy with it.
Yeah. And I have 49.1 max salary.
I prefer Scournick a little bit over Cook, but I understand it. And it is now I'm seeing your projections are more accurate, what I would think. But I still think Josh Allen, I mean, he'll be higher than 60% owned. There's just no way that's going to
not in the captain, but in general.
No, in general. Yeah. Captain, he'll probably be 40%.
You think that much?
I think it'll be between 30 and 40, maybe not.
Okay.
I'm a little so the guys I'm all overweight on Josh Allen because I think he's in every one of my lineups, so I'm forced to be overweight. Sort of with the field on Kupp. I'm below the field on Diggs by a lot. I'm below the field on Stafford by quite a bit. I'm above the field on Gabe Davis.
You have any kicker sprinkles?
I think it makes a lot of sense. If I was playing like 100 lineups, I would have a lot of exposure there, but I just didn't quite end up getting there. To be honest with you, I just didn't get to in my builds, but I don't mind either of the kickers, and they're probably going to be a little lower owned than they usually are, because both these teams can score and everyone's looking for the cool play, whereas the kickers are going to put up 6 to 10 points most likely.
All right, JJ, I'd like to comment on this. I really think that's a bad idea. Taking shots at the backup quarterback.
Yeah, I think there's no viability in that, and ever gonna happen for me. But the quarterbacks, unless they change the pricing on them, I didn't even notice because I would never think about playing a backup quarterback because it worked one time in the most miraculous of all situations.
The Mariota game.
That was just the dumbest, and everybody wanted to give that guy credit for being clever. No, there was nothing clever about that. And also, he didn't have to have 5 touchdowns and a half. You know what I mean? Not just did he have to get in the game; he had to get 5 touchdowns and a half.
See, but that would be cool if that's the case. Like if Pigler is right, if Wolford, by the way, is like 800, you know what I mean, or something like that. Then you get a backup quarterback at 800.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm just saying that. No, I hear you. That makes it interesting, at least.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say like if he got in the game and at some point because Stafford got hurt, like you're still asking him to outscore guys who are probably going to outscore him anyway. Like it's just I can't get behind that kind of stuff personally.
What about lineup construction? In other words, are you doing anything with respect to making sure you have some 3-2s and 5-1s and stuff like that based on game script, or not really so much?
So I'm trying to, again, me and Rody focused on this a lot when we talked about showdowns last year, was just trying to find some game script that makes some sense if you're going to, if you're going to play the running back at captain in general, like using the other, if you want to use a defense, use those guys in the same lineup where you're using your running back as captain. Use the other team's quarterback and passing game where you're using the one team's running game, that type of thing. But most of my builds I'm finding are 4-2 for Buffalo and occasionally 4-2 for the Rams, but mostly 4-2 for Buffalo and 3-3 is just.
But you know what you can do, by the way, you know, like if you have an opinion on the game, you know, and listen, I'm of the belief that okay, this is long conversations, right? But the whole concept of DFS and whatever is that you're supposed to presume Vegas is right. You're supposed to presume that everything's efficient, and you're supposed to make your DFS plays based on that. But I think that you're allowed to have an opinion. You know what I mean? Like you're allowed to think the line's wrong. You know, you might be right, you might be wrong. Nobody really knows. To be fair, you know. So, and if that's the case, especially in a showdown slate, when you want to do anything to just kind of like shake it up a little bit, like if you think that the Rams are just a little bit better than the line indicates, then, you know, make sure you get some 4-2s with the Rams, you know, or something like that. Or what you could do also is I think that the 5-1 from Buffalo is going to be a little more popular than it normally is. Because again, like, everybody's all over Buffalo's ass. You know what I mean? Like, and nobody's exactly sure, you know, where the Rams thing's going to come from, except for Cup. You know what I mean? So people might just do that. They might just run 5 freaking Bills and then Cup on the other side or something like that, and maybe not play as much of that. Maybe I mean, I don't know. And here's the thing: it's hard to figure out how to do it. But listen. Buffalo's a 1.5 point favorite, right? So if you polled everybody out there saying, okay, how often is Buffalo going to win by 20? Okay, as opposed to how often the Rams are going to win by 20? What you're going to hear is that Buffalo is like going to win by 20 1,000 times more than the Rams would, and that makes no sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think that you could play some Ram 5-1s and be very low owned. Problem is, I mean, you've got to really figure out how to do that. You know,
you have to use Josh Allen on the other side, I think, because if the Rams are getting that many fantasy points, there's going to have to be a bounce back. That's why it's so hard not to go for the 4-2, because then who's he throwing it to? But the thing is, he could spread it out enough and he could run for 2. That's the way it works.
Or you can go for full freaking Rams, stick it to them, play everybody from the Rams, including the Rams defense, and run it back with the cheapest guy in Buffalo or something like that. That'll be the end of it.
I mean, I don't think you even need to go that far out of it if we're going to do the 5-1. I just don't think enough people are doing it. The thing I do like for builds that I think is a really interesting thing that me and Rhodey have talked about quite a bit again is if you're going to get creative with a build, it doesn't sound that creative because both guys will be double-digit owned. But how many people are actually going to play Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers in the same lineup?
I love it.
And I think that's a really, really good way you can differentiate a lineup. And we saw it last year. Like, I mean, it felt like there was a backup running back on every single showdown win. I know that wasn't, but it felt like it. And there was many where it was both running backs. The Green Bay stood out as one of those teams that had the double running back thing that won people $1 million a couple times. So I like the idea of doing that a lot.
I forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something else. Anything with the defenses?
If I had to pick one, I would pick. I think both are viable, but I'm not going to play either one of them. To be honest,
both are probably bad, but you know, I don't have much of it. In other words, I don't know which one I would like more. I think they're both very, you know, equally either unplayable or not. You know what I mean? I don't think that anybody. You know, I think that the Rams play a more conservative type, you know, attack, but then again. The Rams are more opportunistic defensively, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. Maybe
No. I think that's reasonable. I mean, I just changed one of my – so I like that build I've got. I mentioned the Rams thing just to give – not without saying everything, but I'll give 5 of my players in the lineup. But if you play Josh Allen with Davis and Diggs, but then you run it back with Henderson and Akers from the Rams, it's certainly something that could happen. And the Rams are going to try to run the ball. So if it works, that's great. And also I'm looking at the ownership here and boy, your ownership has got Henderson and Henderson a lot lower than what I would have thought, but
well, in fairness, also I did this I haven't updated
okay.
these owners
Okay.
like all day. I mean, like
okay, even if I take the Saber Sim ones though, I just still don't
right.
see people playing both those guys together. If they're both 15% owned, those are not going to be in the same.
And by the way, needless to say, everybody, okay, if anybody's all bent out of shape that Cheech didn't update the showdown projections, whatever. If there's anything that where projections are nearly irrelevant, that would be a showdown slate of any sport.
So, 100% agree. And by the way, in baseball, it realistically doesn't matter all that much either after your initial ones. People always want your last updates on, and for basketball, it's hugely important.
Well, in fairness, I would love to be able to do the baseball only because I have like guys that are out that are still projected. Sure. But yeah, but very rare. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you're bent out of shape over a 1-point projection in baseball, you're probably doing it wrong.
Yeah. Good question here about Jamison Crowder. He is one of the low-owned guys you can take shots on. I'm having a hard time getting there.
Okay.
Personally, I don't know. I think it's completely fine. I have him in I think one of my 20 builds or something like that, which is probably about where he gets owned. Maybe a little bit. He'll be owned a little bit higher than that. But I don't have a strong take on him, and he's a guy I used to like quite a bit. But I just think his best days are behind him. And I don't think he's going to get the usage here that he's gotten in the past. He couldn't even get the usage with, you're playing with the Jets. It's hard to get it with Buffalo, who's already got 2 superstar receivers, a great tight end, and they've got the Isaiah McKenzie, always has a huge game on the showdown slates for some reason. Yeah, sure Isaiah McKenzie might be the most popular receiver that's like a number 3 to 4 receiver in the NFL.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So here's something that again I noticed like early, and I don't know if it's still going to happen this year, but Josh Allen, especially in showdown slates, always feeds one guy at the goal line that you've never heard of. All right?
Yeah,
I don't know who it's going to be, but sometimes it gets down to the 2, and they run some freaking play for a guy that's like number 94 or something. The reports is eligible. I don't know who it's going to be.
Lineman who checks in. That's what happens.
But but it's always a guy that has a salary. I'm telling you, it's always some freaking dude. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's worth doing maybe a little homework on it if you're playing a bunch. Because look, these showdown slates. Everybody's got to get used to it. Last year I played the showdown slates probably a little differently than we play this year. This year I'm going to play more to probably just to ship it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Last year I did really well in the showdown slates by basically playing my good plays and running through Saber Sim, doing a small little, not ownership cap, salary, cap. And I grinded out profits. You know what I mean? I was never really in a position to ship anything, but I was able to take down profits. I think I'm going to change that a little bit this year. I think I am going to be a little bit more kooky dooky, but we'll see. I'm not starting off that way. I'm starting off that way with the normal plays. Like I have the Allen Robinson, McKenzie, Cup, Allen. You know what I mean? I have the plays. I did set the owners the salary cap thing. Maybe that'll get me somewhat different. And I got the Squarneck, and I'm kind of spread out a little bit. And the other thing that's like kind of annoying about Showdown is you can't really sweat until like someone gets a touchdown. You know what I mean? And even still, remember, because all these people that are playing defenses, the people that play defenses in the captain, partially just so they can say they're in first place, but to start off
right.
Start off in a screenshot. Don't bet against it. It happens. They'll play double defense, one in the captain. And then, like the first running back that gets a 1 yard pass or something, 1 yard rush, they're going to be in first place in the showdown.
Right.
I wouldn't do that on this slate. I would not put defense in the captain.
I would certainly not put defense as the captain on this slate.
What about Singletary? I have like 4% Singletary.
I've got a good amount of them.
Do you?
Yeah. But I again, like. I think there's a lot of narrative stuff that goes in with him. The thing that I would remind people just that he can be involved in the passing game in a situation like this, especially when you have a pass rush like the Rams do. And they really fed him a lot in the playoffs. Like he was getting tons of touches. I think that they sort of ended up liking him more than they initially did. I still think you'll see the kid in a little bit. What's his name? The James Cook, but I think they like him still, and I don't think I'm gonna roll with him a little bit. So that's.
Are you doing a show with Rhodey tomorrow or no?
Tomorrow I am. We're trying to do it. We haven't figured out the exact time, but yeah, we're trying to do that.
If I can hop on, I will. I mean, I kind of like to keep talking about this stuff. Because one thing I wanted to mention, and we'll talk about this Sunday when we do the live thing, is, I mean, I guess it's looking ahead to the main slate, but don't forget what week 1 is. Week 1 is a weird situation because, first of all, it's got the most amount of variance between what people expect and what reality is, just because people really just don't know. I mean, they just don't. Right. You could try to troll preseason route trees or whatever it is, and you have big coaching changes and all this stuff, and nobody knows. And yet, because salaries were out like a month ago or 2 months ago, it's been the most overanalyzed, right? So what's going to happen is all of the chalk. I mean, I'm telling you, this happens every week, and the longer the longer this phenomenon has to occur, the more positively it will occur. Is that the groupthink will just gravitate and land on these teams, and it's an interesting irony, right? Because on the same week that it's the most unpredictable, it's also the one that generates the most assuredness on the part of the community that they're right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and the fact that the salaries are soft doesn't help that. I mean, every single time I try to do these bills, I still end up with freaking 100%, not 100%, but there's all this freaking KC,
Yeah.
So I'd love to talk to you, sometime between now and Sunday, but certainly Sunday, about those flyers that you usually come up with. Like every year, you have these $3K or $3,500 wide receivers that just very well might catch like an 80-yard touchdown pass. You know what I mean? Or not play at all.
Right. And it's worth it. That's, you know what I mean? That's the worth of taking the chance. But what I noticed in the pricing was that the mid tier in this week 1 is everybody sort of feels underpriced in like the mid tier for especially receivers. And I think that people will try to take the home run guy, but are we really taking a guy who we're hoping gets like 5 plays on the field over, at only 2,500 less than Adam Thielen? Like it's not enough of a savings. You know what I mean? This is not 200 versus 10,000. You know what I mean? And I think people do it a little too much early in the season, but you do want to find those value guys. But the value guys are going to be in the big games and speculating on Chiefs receivers, Cardinals receivers, that kind of thing.
I'm going to tell you, as I release this bit of news, because people have heard this already. I think I've figured out who's going to win somebody $1 million.
Who's that?
And it's someone who you have mentioned probably 75 times as this guy's going to win somebody $1 million. I see that Zach Ertz is out. Well, not out, but he might be out. Can we get some routes out of Isabella?
Well, that's the thing. Like, is it even going to be him? I don't even know what kind of role he's got for sure. But I think that is the kind of guy. And you're right. He's the guy who I said last year was going to win somebody. I kept saying it, and he almost did a couple times. But didn't quite get there. So I like that idea. I mean, just as a speculation play for sure. I mean, everybody's trying to target all over that game. What's weird is I think he might even I don't know. I'll see where the projections end up happening.
He might get ownership, you mean, after all that?
I mean, he's not going to get ownership, but I mean, I'm talking about even if he gets to 1%, that's like probably 5 times too high.
Oh my God, I didn't see this. Rondell Moore got rehurt and is undergoing an MRI.
Oh, then now he might actually be the chalk receiver of the week.
Rondell Moore just from being in everybody's optimal to maybe out.
Oh God, it's pretty crazy how much this happens in football. It's no other sports like this where you just have all these unknowns, even leading up to the day of who even is going to play.
Wow. He injured his hamstring in Thursday's practice, set to undergo an MRI.
It's unfortunate for them, but
so
they're going to open up crazy value. That's just the only answer to that.
Who else do we got? Who else is on this team? So we have, there's Isabella.
There's a lot of receivers down
AJ Green is AJ Greg.
Yeah, AJ Green. AJ Green is Isabella and Greg Dortch, but probably. I don't know what. But Ertz is still supposed to play, right?
Trey McBride.
But wait, let me clear something up real quick. You said Ertz is still supposed to play, as far as I know.
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't say anything. I mean,
I think that he's just missing the practices. I think he's going to be limited, is what the things I heard. But I don't know. It's stupid maybe for me to speculate on.
Man, I have a question. I mean, like these. Listen, I don't want to tell these guys that they're wimps. Not wimps, but I'll tell you. But how do you're off for 6 months and you play no snaps in the preseason? How are these people hurt?
I mean, even they practice hard too. Like, it's not like they have no way of getting injured. I don't think that I don't think it's their thing. I think it's really the team thing. I know. Yeah. AJ Green is. Does it really matter that he's old? Like, guy still had 850 yards receiving last year.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't, and that's with all those other guys. He also had, I believe, he had 4 games over 17 fantasy points. He's 4,600, and they've never been this decimated. If more,
I'll tell you who's going to get.
It'll be the chalk, AJ Moore.
I'll tell you who's going to get a boost is the James Conner. He's going to get a boost.
He's already boosted for me. I already liked him. So.
Oh, really?
I like both. I like the running backs in that. It's hard not to like that game, but I just think the running backs are like an easier way to get to it.
Oh, you like Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yeah, I actually kind of. Well, I kind of do. I mean, it's a price point thing. Like I really tried to focus on these middling builds. So I have very little of Eckler, Henry, McCaffrey, Cook, Kamara. I have some of. Mixon is where I sort of started most of my builds with, and then I wanted to get all the way down. I like Saquon a lot. I like Antonio Gibson a ton. He's my favorite of the week. And
I could definitely get into that.
Yeah, I think Antonio Gibson is going to have a big one this year. And I really like Aaron Jones because they just paid him all that money. But they love A.J. Dillon also, and I just can't quite commit to Aaron Jones as much as I thought I was going to.
Why am I not hearing anything about Devontae Adams? Is he just not supposed to be that good on the Raiders?
No, he's projected to be owned and everything.
He is. I haven't heard.
I actually don't understand why he's getting quite the things he is. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He's got a better receiving core now around him with Waller and Renfro, and he's the same price, and they're treating him like he's the same exact thing in his first game. Now, in all fairness, he is facing the Chargers, which I know people talk about how they like all these Chargers defensive guys. All I know is the Chargers games just always go nuts.
Always. Everyone.
It's crazy every time. It could be 7-3 at halftime, and it'll be 35-31 at the end of the third quarter. It's like nuts.
Yeah.
They all go nuts. And but it's weird that the Rams had a little bit of that. We talk about it. The Rams have arguably the best defense in football for the last few years, and they give up a lot of points. You know what I mean? For a team that's got one of the best defenses in football. But you're sort of forced to play that way because you're up by so much. But MJC says he likes the CH leverage play. That's my main reason for doing it, obviously, but I appreciate that. And I'm going to go. I have to get ready pretty soon to go watch the Rams game, actually. So.
You're not going?
No, I'm not going. It's 2 days. I have to go to Idaho next week, and I can't risk getting COVID for that. So I just was like, okay, I can't really make that move.
Yeah.
Isabella made the team, as far as I know, unless I missed something in the last few days, by the way, to answer that question.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to get out of here pretty soon, Sheets. Are you good?
I'm out too.
Okay.
Good luck, everybody. And what's the schedule? What's it like tomorrow? What do we got tomorrow?
We got baseball tomorrow. It's regular baseball.
Nothing during the day, though?
It's Friday, so I can't imagine they'd play a Friday day game. They never do. Only the Cubs do.
All right. Good luck, everybody.
All right. Good luck, everybody.